This is Lisa Schwartz. As you can see, I'm on the beach today. I wish I really was. But I'm not going to talk. I'm turning this right over to ITSM Academy's Curriculum Development Manager, Donna Knapp. And Donna has a super fun game for us planned today. So, Donna, take it away.
All righty. So, hey, everybody, I'm Donna Knapp, and I'd like to welcome you. This one's a long time in coming for us, quite honestly. Back in 2019, if you recall, ITIL 4 was launched, and shortly after that, after ITIL 4 Foundation was launched, we started seeing some of the advanced classes and the way the advanced classes were handling the practices. And the practices in the advanced class sit at a relatively high level. So going back to 2020, we started lobbying Axelos. So this was pre the PeopleStart acquisition to tie certifications to the practices and provide us the opportunity to provide more comprehensive education about the practices. So, fast forward a few years, we're finally there. So we're super excited. This is our pre-launch party for ITIL 4 monitor, support, and fulfill. So I've been kind of trying to let folks get on in and get settled, and we've done that. So we're going to do this webinar a little bit differently this time. We're going to kind of get you all involved right from the very beginning. So get your hands on your telephone. You will be using it. This is not one of those classes where you're not allowed to have your phone on. You will, in fact, need your phone. We're going to play a couple of games. One of the games is kind of like a little warm up just to get everybody used to the game software and get everybody feeling comfortable with how to navigate the game questions. And then we have the big game, the one for the money. We are awarding the winner of our big game of the day a free seat in our launch. And some of you out there have been to launches with me. Launches are always super exciting. I'm always all kinds of hyped up when we're launching a class for the first time. But it's always also an adventure because we're kind of, it's the first time we're running through the material, and we all get to a little bit learn together. So it's a super fun experience, and hopefully those of you who've been to a launch before would validate that as well. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and get going. So what you need to do is go ahead and kind of point your phone at this QR code. You can go ahead and use the QR code to get to the game software. Optimal configuration is that you've got Zoom on your laptop or your tablet, right? Some device, so that you can continue to look at Zoom, just because it's going to give you kind of a bigger version of the questions. But you'll use what's called Bravo Zone, which is a keypad on your phone. So the way that you will answer the questions is by pressing the option on your telephone. So go ahead and get yourself organized, and I'll go ahead and get the game ready.
Hey, Donna, let me ask you this. Did you set it up so that the speed of answer matters in
Speed
the
and
scoring?
accuracy always matter in every single game. So absolutely. And not in this initial warm-up game, but you'll actually see when we get to the game, the main game, I'll kind of preview the question for you, and then I'll show you the question and the answer options, because some people can read like freakishly fast. And so the fast readers always get kind of a jump up because they can read more quickly than everybody else. So, all right, hold on. I was testing before we started, and here we go. All right. So again, come on in. And if you hadn't already done it, you can point your phone at the QR code and use the QR code to get to the Bravo Zone keypad. If you're, for whatever reason, having trouble with the QR code, if you look down at the bottom, you can see the URL to come in on, bravozone.us. And it'll ask you for an ID. If you come in through the URL and the ID is 0181. If you use the QR code, it's the ID is kind of embedded in there. Yay, people are coming in. Awesome. We always like it when a plan comes together.
I always find this fascinating too, Donna, when we play community games like this, that I feel like it's always a little bit gang mentality. If one person starts with a funny name, like a superhero name, then a lot of other people do. Yeah. And again, that ID, if you are coming in on the URL, is 0181.
So things have slowed down a little. So if you're having trouble getting in, if you want to just kind of chat in, maybe Lisa and Nina, y'all can be working in the background and kind of helping folks get in. But again, part of the purpose of this warm-up game is just to let everybody feel comfortable getting in so that when we get to the big game, you'll be good to go. So I don't see anybody else coming in. All right. So let's get this show on the road. So first of all, where are you joining us from, right? So what you can do is on your phone, you should be seeing a little map. Go ahead and click. Just use your finger to click where you are, and then hit the submit button. There's a little submit button down in the right-hand corner. And if you're trying to click on your computer screen, you're not alone. I do it all the time. It's intuitive that you want to click on that computer screen.
Well, you know what? We're horrible humans. You're right. I am so sorry that we do not have a outside of the United States map available.
I know. It was one of those things where, like, the crack of dawn this morning, I realized, I should have a bigger map, but you can put yourself out in the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean or kind of wherever you are right now. So again, you have to hit submit. So use your finger, click on the map where you are, and then click submit to submit your answer. We've got about 80% of responses. I'll give it just another minute or so for you to figure out where you are. Something I'm not sure about on a given day. I don't know where I am, like, time-wise right now. Like, I'm just in denial that we're in October. And all right, I'm not seeing any more responses. So where are we? Nice. A little bit all over the US. Thank you for the West Coasters that got up and joined us early this morning. You're likely working on that first cup of coffee. Some folks up north, it's already getting cold up there, right? So happy fall to all of you. All right. All right, so in the spirit of the season, and in this case, you're going to go ahead and type your answer in, and then remember to hit that submit button. What's your favorite Halloween candy? I personally have, like, a serious problem with candy corn, and I'm very thankful that it only, like, shows itself, during Halloween, because I like candy corn, right, Brian? It's like you have to, I like will binge on it a little bit, and then I get it out of my system, and I don't need to have it any other time of the year but for, like, the month of October. Lots of
Kate, my
always.
sister also loves those candy pumpkins. I do personally. I don't understand it. I'm a Butterfinger girl, but you're with my sister on that.
I'm with Ashley. Any form of chocolate. There you go. All right. See, Reese's Pumpkins, when I was a kid, we didn't have Reese's Pumpkins. So you kids these days. All right. Excellent. Lots of chocolate fans out there. I like it a lot. All right. Okay. Here we go. All right. So just a little bit of trivia. For those of you who are alumni, you've been around with us for a while, what version of ITIL was ITSM Academy's first ITIL Foundation class? Some of you might have been in it. I wasn't in the
No,
first.
there were
I was
four
early
of
on,
us.
but not the first.
There were four of us in that first class. A lady from GE Aerospace and two people from Eli Lilly. And I can say that now because I think they're all retired.
All right. Got 90%. We're missing somebody.
We should have loaded up the Jeopardy music for in the background.
All right. So, ooh, some of us put us back in the V1 days, Lisa. That's interesting.
Well, it was your Reese's Peanut Butter Cup comment.
So actually, we launched ITIL version 2 in 2004. And if you do the math, 2004, 2024, we maybe have a little bit of a big celebration coming up next year. So we're super excited about that. We're officially adults now, much to our despair. All right, so what version of ITIL is your original ITIL Foundation cert? I know some of you have gotten ITIL Foundation like through the years, you've taken different versions, but what was your original version? And we're missing somebody. We're only getting to 90%. So again, if you're having trouble like kind of with the game software, just please reach out to somebody. And
we've gotten a few chats that a couple of people are doing other things, so they got pulled away.
Oh, they're not worried about it. Okay. I'm not going to worry about it. All right. So how did we do? So interesting. 5% of you, version 1, kudos to you. Been around since the beginning. I personally came up through the IBM School of IT Service Management, so I didn't find ITIL until ITIL version 2. Lots of V3s. ITIL 4 not certified yet, so we hope that you'll change that with ITSM Academy. And just for giggles, I pulled out my cert. So here's my ITIL 4 or my ITIL 2 foundation cert. So it was a little
Donna, I pulled mine out too. It never occurred to me you were going to do that, or I would have said you could have put them right next to each other.
There you go. All right. When did you first become a member of the ITSM Academy? And we are grateful that for some of you, you might just be attending your first webinar today. Today's day one for you. Did you attend a class back in Fort Lauderdale? I always forget when were we have the Fort Lauderdale classroom, Lisa?
From the end of 2004 through 2016, I'm going to say.
This is why I defer these questions to you. Some of you might have attended a class at your company that we came and taught for you, or you attended a class in the virtual classroom. So we've got just about everybody.
And there could be folks that have attended multiple webinars. We didn't give that as an option, so you can pick option A.
The idea was really they've never attended a class with us, and this webinar is their first introduction to ITSM Academy, was the spirit of that option.
Mm-hmm. Because we do these fun, well, we do them a lot more difficult than these questions, but we use all these games in class.
So look, attending my first webinar, that 29%. So that's awesome. Got some folks that have been around for a while, came and joined us down in Fort Lauderdale. And we always enjoy coming out and visiting your organizations as well. So welcome, however you found ITSM Academy, however you became, a part of our family. We appreciate you, and we appreciate you being here today. So this is a little bit, I mentioned our pre-launch party for ITIL 4 Monitor support, and fulfill. This is the first of the ITIL 4 practice bundles. Our launch is November 28th, which is, don't blink, tomorrow. And again, we're super excited about it. So let's see, how kind of aware you are about monitor, support, and fulfill. So which statement about ITIL 4 monitor, support, and fulfill is correct? So here we go.
Donna, that's an interesting little question. You're being a little Loki trickster today.
Sometimes I'm a little mean. I am a little mean.
I've heard that. No kidding.
Actually, the questions I wrote for the big game are, I think I really was like careful about not being, tricky about anything. But all right, let's see how we did. Oh, a little bit all over the board. So the correct answer is that ITIL 4 Foundation is, in fact, a prereq for any of the practice courses, whether you're taking an individual practice course or any of the practice bundles. And I'll kind of talk about that all in a little bit greater detail. Covers 4 practices in the service desk function. The 19% of you answered that. I bet you a nickel that you're ITIL 3 certified. In ITIL 3, service desk was in fact a function. In ITIL 4, it is in fact a practice. And none of you picked Grant's ITIL Master, so there you go. So it does have foundation as a prereq. So just very, very quickly, if we look at like a simple version of the ITIL 4 certification scheme, you can see that there are now 3 main designations: ITIL Practice Manager, ITIL Managing Professional, ITIL Strategic Leader. You achieve all of those and you're granted the ITIL Master designation. Monitor, Support, and Fulfill over on the left-hand side is part of the ITIL Practice Manager stream. It is the first that we are launching of the practice bundles. And in order to become a practice manager, you need to take 5 practices, and each bundle includes 5 practices, or you can do 5 practices individually if you want to, if you're a glutton for punishment and like to take lots of exams. And you need Create, Deliver, and Support, the ITIL 4 Advanced Create, Deliver, and Support certification. And the kind of reason that's included is its focus is on the value stream level. And that's really, so much of being effective with practices is ensuring that your practices are integrated across your value streams. So Create, Deliver, and Support brings that to the conversation. So ITIL 4 Foundation plus Create, Deliver, Support plus 5 practices, which you would get through any one of the bundles, gets you to ITIL Practice Manager. And we'll kind of, after we finish this game, if there are any specific questions about that, I'll go ahead and continue to kind of address any questions that you might have. So which practice is not included in Monitor, Support, and Fulfill? And just kind of think through kind of the concepts. I was actually going to write a question, Lisa, and say which one of these words is not spelled incorrectly. Fulfill. Everybody probably looks at the fulfill word. It's the European or international English spelling. So it's not spelled incorrectly. It's just not spelled the way we spell it here in the US.
And that was a whole conversation between Donna Knapp and Lisa Schwartz. And Donna, is the leaderboard set to only show the top 10? Because there's a couple of people that their points aren't being just like, they're not on the board, but they're playing the game.
Well, so I am seeing that responses are needed from people, but I don't I honestly don't know the answer to that question. I'm not sure about that. The leaderboard's turned on, so
let's see.
not sure.
So
Maybe
just
dribble around in the background and figure that out.
really quickly hit the who has not responded yet for me. How did you get there? Yeah, see, it's not letting, I don't know about JM, but India, it's not letting their responses through.
Have they been
So
able
if you're trying to respond on your phone, and that's not working, alternatively, you can launch a browser version of Bravo Zone. So on your computer, you could go into bravozone.us, come in 0181, and perhaps it'll let you come in through the browser.
All right. I'm working in the background.
Which practice is not included in monitor, support, and fulfill? Well done, 71%. Change enablement is not part of monitor, support, and fulfill. And again, service desk is a practice in ITIL 4. So here I've kind of revealed now the practices. So monitor, support, and fulfill service desk, incident, problem, service request management, and monitoring and event management. So again, to become a practice manager, you need to take 5 practices. Now, you could pick any 5 practices you wanted to. You don't have to take these bundles, right? If you wanted to take service desk and change enablement and service level management, pick your poison. You can go ahead and do that, but you would have to take 5 individual exams versus 1 exam for the practice bundles. And the other thing about the practice bundles, if you actually look at them, they are practices that are very tightly integrated, right? And have a really strong relationship with each other. And so they really, again, help us to better understand how to think at the value stream level, how to ensure that we're effectively integrating our processes and our practices. We're not just kind of putting on our blinders and thinking only about incident management. We're understanding the relationship between incident and problem and service desk and monitoring and event management, right? Thinking about all of that in the context of value stream. And also really helps to improve collaboration, right? That we have this common language now within our organization. When we're talking about practices, we all kind of understand what practice is what and what they're responsible for. So we have opted here at ITSM Academy to launch the bundles. We are not going, it is not our intention at this time to launch any of the individual practice courses. For this very reason, we have a class on value stream management. We feel passionate about value streams and the importance of ensuring practice integration. So our focus is going to be on the bundles as opposed to any of the individual practice courses. All right. So a little bit of a poll. Which monitor, support, or fulfill practice is most relevant to your role or to your career? And I know that some of you may not be practitioners right now, but you were an incident manager. I was a service desk manager at one point in my career. I spent a lot of years as a consultant helping them implement incident management practices. Miss Parker's in the audience, and we worked together on a lot of that. I am, a huge proponent of problem management. So for you, which is most relevant either to your role or to your career? I'm going to force you to pick a favorite child, so to speak. All right, so I think we have everybody. So not surprised, incident at the top, but I love that for a lot of you, are also involved in things like monitoring and event management and problem management, service desk, right? It's kind of, I like seeing those statistics a little bit all over the place. because it's important, right? They are in fact integrated practices. And so the more we have people around us who understand these practices and we can learn from each other, the better off we'll all be in terms of enabling all of these practices to be successful. So slightly different poll: which practice is currently the primary focus of your improvement efforts? So again, I know that you may have multiple initiatives going on, but where are you maybe centering your improvement efforts right now? What's your focus right now? All right. Excellent. Again, love that, kind of we see a lot of, different initiatives going on. Service request management sort of doesn't surprise me. A lot of organizations today are working on enterprise service management initiatives, looking at automation, right? Can we in fact automate our request fulfillment processes? I'm happy some of you are working on problem management. Wish that was a little bit more. And monitoring and incidents, I think are, kind of ongoing and perpetual. Monitoring event management too, we're seeing the rise of things like observability, AI ops, which are, separate and distinct disciplines, but kind of in that, family in terms of automatically and proactively detecting what's going on. All right, so which ITIL concept, a little bit of foundation level knowledge here, which ITIL concept represents resources that support ITIL practices? And you might be wondering why I'm asking this question, but you'll know in a moment. So which ITIL concept represents resources that support the ITIL practices? We could maybe apply the thinking work holistically guiding principle in the context of this concept for any of you that maybe need a little hint.
That was a good hint on an app.
We saw a little stall there. There we go. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, so if we're gonna think and work holistically, what are we thinking about? Ooh, a little bit all over the board here. We're gonna be thinking about the 4 dimensions of service management. They represent all holistically the resources that we need. And the reason I ask this, I brought up this question, is that the ITIL practice courses are based on the ITIL 4 practice guides. And the 4 dimensions of service management form the structure for the ITIL 4 practice guide. So you're going to, if you were to look at a practice guide, you would see that all of those 4 dimensions represented. So if you're not familiar with the practice guides, just very, very quickly, the ITIL 4 library, it's not called IT infrastructure library anymore, but there is still, in fact, a library. For every ITIL certification, there is an associated publication. And you get that publication when you take your exam, especially if you've taken it, in the past year or so. And then separate are the practice guides, and each practice has its own guide. And the reason why they are separate is that so that they could be updated more frequently than the core publications. And in fact, the ITIL practice guides recently went through a refresh in preparation for these practice courses. So if you look at the ITIL 4 practice guides, they're all going to have the same exact structure. They're going to have general information. What is the purpose, key terms and concepts? What are the practice success factors? What are the key metrics? And if we were, and then you see the 4 dimensions, right? Value streams and processes, organizations and people, information and technology, partners and suppliers, right? That's the 4 dimensions of service management. The way you know, if you looked at the practice guides a while back and you're wondering, how do I know if the practice guide has been updated? For the refresh, in advance of these practice courses, they added in 2 new sections, which you see down on the bottom right there. They added capability assessment and development, and they added in recommendations for practice success. So if we were to look at a syllabus for any one of the practice courses, the syllabus would actually reflect what you're seeing here. Do you understand the purpose? Do you understand what the practice success factors, how to measure attainment of those practice success factors? There's going to be questions about all of the 4 dimensions. So you're kind of seeing, you know, by understanding the structure of the practice guides, you're also seeing what type of information is introduced in these courses. So a little bit of another question. This might be hard for some of you who maybe haven't been exposed at all to the ITIL maturity model. Which capability level would be assigned to a practice that has incomplete activities? At times, it fails to achieve its purpose. So what capability level do you think that is? It's kind of being done in a little bit of an ad hoc way. You know, everybody's kind of making it up as they go along. All right. How'd we do? Excellent. Well, then 61% of you, that is in fact level 1, initial intuitive, we used to call it ad hoc, right? You know, you're just not consistently meeting your purpose. At level 2, when we see that notion of systematic, it means that we're, you know, we've kind of started to define our basic activities, and we're, you know, in a fairly methodical way able to handle practice activities. So why do we care? So again, one of the things that is included in this course is, in these courses, these practice courses, is how do you assess the capability of an ITIL practice? Now, just to very quickly kind of talk a little bit about the ITIL for maturity and capability model. We introduced 2 terms here. One is maturity, and assessing maturity really involves looking at your service value system, which is an ITIL 4 concept, kind of in its totality. So looking at all of the components of your service value system, one of which, of course, is your practices. We use the term capability in the context of your practices. How capable are you of handling incidents? How capable are you of handling problems within your organization? So just a little bit of kind of maturity model 101. In the context of the practice courses, you actually do have to know the capability levels for the practices. So this is something we'll introduce in class. For those of you who are attending classes, this is something that you can start studying a little bit ahead of time. So you need to have an understanding of what are the litmus tests as you move from one level of capability to the next. You need to understand how capability is assessed, right? How you would go about planning to assess the capability of your practices, how you would plan initiatives in order to improve the capability of your practices. So this is kind of part of what we introduce in the practice courses. All right, little bit of value stream 101 for you here. An organization wants to better integrate its practices. It's decided to adopt a value stream approach. What should the organization do first?
Oh boy. I guess I need to go to this class, Donna, because I'm not positive I know the answer to this one.
And this is where, like, it's interesting, for some of you who maybe attended Create, Deliver, and Support, you've had some exposure to this already. So there's a little chicken egg. The practice courses will kind of help you better understand what's going on in CDS and vice versa, right? It doesn't matter which one comes first. There's no prescribed order in which you need to do things, but they do kind of build on each other. All right, 73%. Did we lose people? I'm going to go ahead, going once, going twice. All right. So well done, 65%. We would first map our as is value stream, right? We have to go out and walk the value stream and figure out what's going on out there. And then we can start to think about eliminating those non-value adding activities. So again, with this particular course, one of the other things we introduce is that concept of value streams and the idea that these practices are integrated across value streams. So you'll learn a little bit of value stream mapping 101. It's a very kind of small portion of the course, but then we'll put looking at improving our practices in the context of our value streams. All right. So very quickly, just to I'm going to run through these quickly because now I want to get to the big game. So which practice ensures that user demand for incident resolution and service request is captured? Quickly. We're losing people. Now there we go, 73%. So Lisa, hopefully you're figuring out what's going on in the background because we're getting ready to go to the big game. So here we go. So well done, 57%. That really is what the service desk does, right? Captures user demand. And it is, in fact, the purpose of the service desk practice, right? It's that single point of contact for users. All right. What's the purpose of incident management? This is an easy one. Hopefully we all got it. Doesn't matter if you're V2, V3, or V4. This purpose statement really hasn't changed. All right, there we go. 70%, well done. Minimize the negative impact of service interruptions. Restore normal service operation as soon as possible. Very much the, again, purpose statement that really hasn't changed through the years. Which practices manages the life cycle of known errors? Well, that one was quickly answered. This is when I think I made questions too easy when everybody answers that quickly. All right, 74% well done, problem management. Its purpose really is to minimize the impact of incidents by figuring out what's causing those incidents and managing workarounds and known errors. Which practice enables early detection of incidents? Some of you have probably been playing along and are just playing process of elimination now. And that is, yes, monitoring and event management, right? Observing components, analyzing changes of state, and making sense of those changes of state and figuring out how to deal with them, which is not a characteristic of a service request,
Ooh, that's a fun little question, Donna. I can't wait to see the answers.
This one's easy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping, thinking we're going to go 100%, but you never know.
All right. Well done. 52% service requests are not unplanned. That would be an incident, right? Incidents are unplanned. Service requests are, in fact, predefined. They're initiated by a user. They require action from the service provider. And that really is the purpose of service request management, right? We agree on what those kind of predefined and user-initiated service requests are going to be, and we respond to them in an effective and user-friendly way. So these are the monitor, support, and fulfill practices. We bring them together across value streams, whether it's a value stream to resolve incidents, and that might involve monitoring and event management, service desk in the event that it's a user-initiated incident management with a little bit of an assist from problem, or ensuring normal service operation just by monitoring, our products and services, making sure they're up and running when they're supposed to be, delivering on those service requests, and also problem management comes into play in terms of preventing incidents. So well done. That is monitor, support, and fulfill in a nutshell. Now, don't go anywhere. Don't turn off your phone. You will be able to stay right where you are in order to play the big game, and you will just need to kind of refresh your screen. So give me 1 second. I'm going to bring up the new game, and then we're going to go. All right. So you should be seeing kind of a little, one of those little circle refresh kind of buttons. You can refresh, and that will kind of bring you back to the game. Just a reminder that whoever wins this game wins a free seat in Monitor, Support, and Fulfill, our launch that's coming November 28th. You know how whenever you play enter a contest, there's always that language that says like employees of the company and their direct family members aren't eligible to win. We hope that our authorized instructors are out there will understand you're not eligible to win. You know the answers. But please play along, because we will give you bragging rights if you win. We just won't give you the free seat in class if you win. So please play along anyway. But whoever kind of wins the game that's not one of our authorized instructors goes ahead and wins. So if you didn't get in before, you maybe still can come in now. And if not, you can, hopefully you can kind of enter in at any point along the way. But good, I'm happy to see it looks like we kind of carried most of you over. So here we go. I'm going to cruise.
Hey, Donna.
Yes.
But sorry, before you launch, quick question. If it is a tie, do we have the capability of So what I'm doing in the background is I just did a quick Google search, and there's a wheelofnames.com. And I'm inputting everyone's name so that if we get to a tie, everyone who has the top score, we're going to just pull it out while I'll share my screen. We'll pull it over, and that's how we'll pick the winner.
Okay. But there shouldn't be a tie because there is a timer on. So it's going to, that's going to come into play. So, again, speed and accuracy count along the way. So we're going to do 3 quick questions about each of the MSF practices. When I was writing these questions, I kind of took into consideration some of you are maybe coming out of ITIL version 3. Some of you have maybe only had ITIL 4 Foundation. So, I took that into consideration. There's kind of a little bit here for everybody. So if you've had like, even a little bit of exposure to ITIL, yeah, you should do okay. So here we go. I'm just going to start monitoring and event management. So the way this game is going to work, I'm going to preview the question for you, right? So that the freakishly fast readers don't get, an advantage here. I'll preview the question and then you'll see the question again with the answer options. And I'm just going to kind of crank through them, right? So here we go. I like seeing those quick answers. That's a good tip with, multiple choice questions. Can you answer it off the top of your head? All right. Well done. 76%. That's an event. All right. Love it. Well done, 65%. The context in which they occur. Something that is normal today might be abnormal or suspicious in a different context. Right?
Donna, I'm so sorry to interrupt. I, um, Indy, were you able to get in? Okay, great. Thank you.
I always date myself when I'm talking about event types because whenever I see warning, I think warning, Will Robinson warning. I know some of you don't at all understand that reference, but that's okay. Some of you do. All right. So what would trigger an incident? Well done, 65%, and an exception. All right, service desk. Here we go. That's an easy one. And remember with the practices, we cover the 4 dimensions. So we cover information and technology. So this is an example of what you would see in the context of how we can use technology with the service desk. So I mentioned that a new section in the practice guides is recommendations for practice success. And those recommendations are actually aligned with the guiding principles. And y'all know us here at the Academy, we are huge fans of the guiding principles. And so I love seeing them introduced here. So focus on value. Value is always from whose perspective? The customer's perspective. So well done, 47% of you. Make sure your agents understand, right, the user's business, right? Make sure that they understand what those users perceive as of value. This is for everybody who went to ITIL 4 Foundation, right? You've got this one. So well done, 88% service empathy, right? It's really about understanding those needs and those expectations. So here we go, incident management.
I also really like this question, Donna.
Thank you. But it was too easy. Well done, everybody. Well done, 100%. It's where those known errors live. This is about a little ITIL 4 concept, but it's also kind of, I think, common knowledge. %, well done. So swarming is really for those more complex incidents, those incidents where we need a team, right? It takes a village to understand and resolve the incident. Here we go. This is one of those always an exercise in did you read the entire question? Because if all you did is pick up on quickly and not efficiently, you might not have gotten it. So well done, 47% of you, number of reassignments, right? How efficient are we in handling those incidents? So every practice introduces 2 or 3 practice success factors. And here you see the practice success factors for incident management, and there are metrics associated with each of those practice success factors. This is actually a big part of the assessment model. It's built around those practice success factors. So moving on to problem management. Joyce is going for those bragging rights. So those of you who came to ITIL and ITIL version 2, you probably like this question because ITIL 4 took problem management back to ITIL v2 for all intents and purposes. So where do we maintain workarounds in error control? So well done, 41% of you. All right. Uh-oh, I didn't have a preview there. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I think of all the questions, to not have a preview on this was a lucky accident.
Isn't it? Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So remember that in ITIL 4, practices may have multiple processes. It's something that's a little different from V3. So in problem management, we introduced 4 processes. You see them listed here. And the proactive problem identification process does not use incident data, right? It's vendor information, monitoring and event management data, right? Any source other than incident management is what we use for proactive problem identification. Oops, sorry, I clicked pretty quickly on that one.
And you thought this wasn't going to take the even 45 minutes. Look
I
where we are
know.
time wise. Holy
Well,
heckle. Listen, if Donna and Lisa have a flaw together, is that we don't know what day, we don't know what month it is. And we always think we can do things quicker than we can.
so this is a little bit of a new concept in ITIL 4, this idea that known errors and workarounds are part of your technical debt in your organization. So well done, 29%, right? Um, let's try to eliminate them to the extent possible. Sometimes it's not cost justified, but it does represent technical debt. And like any kind of debt, it'll circle around and bite you in the butt at some point. Joyce is looking at that typo. I fixed it in the question, but I didn't fix it in the summary. So there you go, Joyce. I fixed it. I'm sure she's like ready to send me an email. You have a typo. Hopefully, I kind of dropped some hints that we might be heading this direction. Excellent. Well done. 71%, right? Take it up to the value stream level. And figure out what's going on from there, right? That kind of lets us really understand what our constraints are and improve our workflow. Now you might be thinking, but wait, Donna, service catalog management is not one of the MSF practices. We learn about the integration of practices with other practices, right? So we bring service catalog management into the mix here. Also, always remember that with any advanced ITIL class, foundation level knowledge is fair game. So this is something that you would have learned in ITIL 4 Foundation as well. Way to go, Brian.
Donna, Bryan is very close to your neck of the woods. And I just threw in chat because I do apologize. I know we were just joking about it, but we are really getting tight on time. For those of you who do not win today, we are offering 20% off the class. And I put your promo code into the webinar chat. If you missed that, feel free to reach out to us on our chat on itsmacademy.com and we'll resend that to you.
All right, going once, going twice. We don't have everybody this time, but I'm going to go. So yes, user, and here we go. Last question. This is the biggie. You actually can place a wager, right? If you want to try to like bump Brian off the top there, Edward, you have the opportunity to do that. So look at your keypad. You have the ability to put in a little bit of a wager.
Donna, that's exciting. I mean, I did not know that was coming, man. And
Last
I've had a
question
blast.
for the
Thank you so
money.
much for doing this.
All right. We've got 82% of you. I feel like we lost a couple of you along the way, unfortunately. So ready, going once, going twice. I thought it was a little bit hard, but no. Brian and Edward are like really super close.
And Donna is going to stay on. So for those of you who, if you have any questions and you have a little bit of time, we're here to answer any questions that we can for you guys.
All right, so we have it ready. We're at 94%, going once, going twice. I'm not seeing anybody else. So here we go. All right, so well done, 65% of you. That is, in fact, a workaround. And da-da-da. Brian, JP, a little bit of bragging rights there. All right, Lisa.
Oh, and Joel and Liz did really well with their wager too. They rocketed up.
Yeah.
We got some gamers in the audience. That's all I'm saying.
It never hurts. It never hurts to, throw it all in the bucket. So well done. As Lisa said, thank you so much for coming. We hope you found this both informative and fun. We hope you'll join us for the launch. We're super excited about it. If you have any questions, I will stick around. If you have any questions about the certification scheme or, ITIL in general, I will stick around. And otherwise, thank you all for attending. Brian, congratulations. I'm looking forward to seeing you in class. So what kind of questions? Are there any questions? If you need to drop off, again, thank you for attending. And otherwise, are there any questions for me?
Donna, I have a question for you. I have to say, I'm very disappointed about something. Do you know what you didn't say today?
Oh, no. Yeah, I didn't. I actually thought about it this morning, and there kind of wasn't any place to do it. So just, I'll throw a Deming out there just on principle. But yeah.
All right, everyone, get your water.
I couldn't find it. I couldn't find a place to put it in my game.
And for those of you that don't know, Donna is in love with Dr. Deming, and she and all of his learnings, and she uses that as a baseline for a lot of the things that we do here at the Academy. So we have this fun game where it's always in the morning, so it's water and coffee. That's why we did game night a couple of months ago, so we could do it with adult beverages.
Drink, yeah.
But hashtag Donna said Deming is is a game that we play here, and a lot of you guys know that.
No questions? Well, that was easy. Lisa, were there any questions in the chat?
There's one in QA. Sorry, there's two. Indy is from Romania.
Ah, welcome.
So I didn't see that until
just
now.
Sounds cold to me.
Oh, it sounds
I think it's cold
historic to me.
All right. If there's no questions, we'll let everybody go. No questions.
Brian, we'll get in. I'm not seeing any. No, ma'am. No, Indy, we're so glad that you got to play from Romania today. We think that's cool.
I know.
We actually are. Donna and I have been very blessed, and we've both been able to travel around the globe. So that we only had the United States up this morning was not indicative of who we are as people. Let me just say that. And Brian, we'll get the email out to you today with your registration information for your
start studying.
This was a very, very good primer.
What about that?
Say again, Donna?
I meant to put my MSF cert up and I forgot.
Wow. No, this was a really good primer, and I learned a lot. My internet keeps saying it's unstable, so I'm stopping my video. That's why I was off for most of it. Because, South Florida.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Donna. It really, I don't think you're supposed to have this much fun at work, lady. That's all I'm saying.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad it was
All
fun.
right. Talk to you soon.
All
Bye
right.
all.
See y'all.